We're all human beings, and we're used to living in a limited world. That is, everything around us has its limitations. That's what we know. That's what we see with our own eyes. We're aware of life being born and our own parents and grandparents dying. We're aware of that. We can see it on a daily basis. People die. And in the springtime, we can see new leaves budding out on the trees. And through a few 4 months, they turn brown and they die. And we watch this taking place before our very eyes. We humans speak of birth and we speak of death. That's what we do as human beings. We speak of civilizations, storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, and comets and things like this in the sky, things that we can see. So we're accustomed to seeing things grow old, aren't we? All I have to do is look in the mirror. Get a picture of me when I was in a teenage, look at it now. Say, where's the time gone? Our cars wear out, our clothes wear out, our homes has to constantly be taken care of, or they'll wear out, they'll fall apart. Our furniture wears out, everything just wears out. And that's what we're accustomed to. That's what our minds know. Buildings over a period of time will deteriorate. If you don't take care of them, they will just fall apart. Our own bodies became wrinkled, and we really slow down, don't we? We slow down in a hurry. So as humans, everything has a beginning. And there's a period of usefulness, and it all comes to an end. We mark the progression of events on the clock and on our calendars. As time tick, 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 ticks away. That's what we know. That's what the world knows. As far as you and I are concerned, only what is measurable by hours, days, and years seem to have real significance to us. And so we carry on our daily lives by hours and days and months and years. But when your mind, our minds, human minds, learn that God is eternal, there's a blockage that comes in your mind. You can't comprehend that. That's not real to you. You can't understand it. And our minds comes to a stop, a halt. We can't comprehend something that is eternal. We just can't do it. The word eternal really has no meaning to the human mind. We can't relate to that. We simply can't. It's over our minds to relate something that's always been. That is the problem with us humans. We're trying to relate what we cannot relate in physical terms. It's impossible to do it. We just can't do it. We're trying to apply our limitation to the physical existence we know to the unlimited spiritual plane on which God lives. And your mind just bogs down. It's overwhelming. The two cannot be compared. Physical and spiritual can be compared to that. With our physical minds, we can encompass an hour. We know what an hour is. We know what a day is. We know a century is 100 years. We can even comprehend 1,000 years. But we cannot comprehend something and grasp it that is eternal. We just can't do it. We simply cannot comprehend spiritual existence. From that matter, we can't even comprehend the universe. It in itself is physical. Overwhelms our mind. It's so vast we can't comprehend it. Try to consider for a moment what God has created. See if you can comprehend this. Astronomers estimate there's 100 billion galaxies. Each galaxy has 100 billion stars, planets, and all these suns and moons and things there. And that's more than it's over our head, what God has created. Those numbers just go right over our head. They're so vast. In Psalms 147, verse 7, David says this about God. All those things I just said to you, that the galaxies and stars and planets out there, he says he numbers the stars. God does. He calls them all by their names. That's incredible. Your mind can't comprehend something like that. Now, if we allow God one full second, think about this. If we allow God one full second, that is by reckoning of time to count the name of each star in the heavens, how long would it take him to name them all? Now, going by our own clocks and our own calendars, and going nonstop, it would take 300 trillion years just to name them. That number overwhelms your mind, doesn't it? But he knows them all. Then how long it must have taken him to design and create all those stars, planets, things of this universe. Those numbers, like I told you, they just over your mind. Humans cannot comprehend something like that. But not to God, because God is eternal. One of the names of God is Yahweh, Y-A-H-W-E-H, and it means the ever-living one, Yahweh, the ever-living one. And to understand where God comes from, affects us, affects the human race. Our Creator is not bound by the laws of space and time as you and I are. To God, one day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day, 2 Peter 3:8. Isaiah 57 verse 15 tells us that God inhabits eternity. What in the world does that mean? He inhabits eternity. Overwhelming your mind. What that means that God dwells in what we might think of as the beginningless and endless of time. In Genesis 1:1 and John 1:1 shows that whatever point in the past we wish to consider the beginning, no matter how far back we go, as far back as you can stretch your mind, God was already there. That's what it says in Genesis 1:1 and John 1:1. So the question is, where did God come from? He didn't come from any place. Why? Because he was always there. He has no past, he has no future, he always lives in the now. He's composed of spirit energy, which exists in the now. He has no past. It's always now with him. The more important part of the past eternity has to do with our future. Our future. Yahweh means to change you and I from temporary, limited physical human beings so we can be immortal, immensely empowered with great power as a spirit being, a member of his own family, that eternal family. To understand about God, it gives us an understanding about us, why we were on this earth in the first place. A family that is more bound by the physics of time and space. The Holy Spirit that God has given us makes it possible for us to live forever. And that's what we want. Notice in closing here what Paul wrote to the church at Corinth. It's in 2 Corinthians, 4th chapter. Let me get verse 17 and 18. This is what Paul wrote. It says, though our outer nature is wasting away, that's this body, is what he's talking about, it's wasting away, our inner nature is being renewed every day. With a slight momentary afflictions in preparing for an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. Because we look not to the things which are seen, but to things which are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, having a beginning and an end. But the things that are unseen are eternal. And that's why God created us in the first place, is to live forever like He does. So where did God come from? He didn't come from any place. Simply because He has always been. That's the nature of God. That's His power. And we can't comprehend that. Something that has lived for eternal is going to be there. And we can have a part and be a part of that great eternal family and live forever.